Good morning, brother. I'm doing lounge. I'm looking a little bit of a mess because I kind of rolled out of bed and decided to maybe do my job today. So we're here to discuss day 30. It's going to be a speed run because there's not a lot to talk about. So this will probably be over in like 10 minutes. We're just at the point in this game where there's not really a whole ton to talk about. Most people have their, ideal their ideal boot list kind of already pre-planned, and they know who they're going to evict. They know who they're going to nominate. Like, there's very little discussion to be had. There's very little alliance talk, to be made. While this vote today does have some interesting dynamics, ultimately it is dynamics that are being internalized, and they need to figure that out for themselves. This dynamic does not depend on other people. It depends on what they want to do at the end of the day here. So there's not a lot to discuss in terms of what people are talking about, because people are staying very much to themselves. And we like, Big Brother is weird, where you start off very social, and then you reach the middle point of the game where it becomes very strategic and everyone is talking game and all that fun stuff. And then at the end of the game, it goes back again to just being friendly and social, because everyone knows what they're doing. And there's very little you can do to change the perspective of how people want to, finish this end game for each other. So not a lot to talk about, but I'm here nonetheless for y'all. Ultimately, at the beginning of day 30, we, as we alluded to on yesterday's tea, that it was coming down to the Mitchell and Anthony discussion. Ultimately, Danny and Lee wanted to boot Ashton. Tommy and Anna wanted to boot Blake, which put Anthony right in the middle. Ultimately, Danny and Lee are like, hey, if Ashton is to win at a household, she's putting up Lee and Mitchell, which means in a 7-person vote, if this final foursome of Danny, Lee, Hammond, and Anthony is to stick together, that means there's only 2 voters, which means the best they can do is tie it up, and Ashton gets to break the tie and decide what happens there. Ultimately, they would prefer to keep Blake, because Blake would nominate likely Hammond and Tommy. Spoiler alert, they were right. And with that, at a 7-person vote, if the final foursome was to stick together, which, spoiler alert, they're probably not sticking together, but regardless, if the foursome stuck together, they'd have 3 voters and would get to dictate the vote to save whichever final foursome member was on the block, in this case, Hammond. And that's why they wanted Blake to stay, Ashton to go, and it relied on Anthony. Anthony, who's agreeing with Danny and Lee here, being like, yeah, no, that's totally the right move here. We need to boot Ashton. Also, Anthony didn't have a strong relationship with Ashton, so it kind of all was working out for him. But ultimately, Anthony had pledged his vote to Hammond and said, I will vote whatever way you want, because you kept me safe and I want to repair this. And Hammond, despite, all of the talks on the end of day 29 about what they should do, he still was like, I want Ashton to stay. So this was like waking up in the morning. It's like, what is Hammond going to say? Because if Hammond still pushes for Ashton to stay, that's what's going to happen. That's what it's going to be. Ultimately, Hammond wakes up and gives the blessing to boot Ashton. I think Danielle is a big influence in this, because she very much just like calls him out and is like, hey, you need to drop the emotional connection to Ashton. Like, you're only wanting to keep her because you're friends with her and you like her more than you like Blake. And you need to be thinking about your game here and thinking about our game moving forward. And that means you need to be booting Ashton here. So ultimately, he gives the blessing for Anthony to boot Ashton, which then locks up the votes to save Blake. Ultimately, Tommy and Anna they fight for Ashton very, very hard. Anthony was very busy, so they felt like they were getting iced out. But like in that last hour of that vote, Anna gets on call with him for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and is just laying down facts after fact after fact, saying, you need to save Ashton, and here's all the reasons why. And as much as I do think that he probably should have saved Ashton, the problem is it's hard when Hammond then gives his blessing to do it. And it wasn't like he gave him his blessing just in a one-on-one chat that Anthony could just be like, oh, I didn't see it. Hammond said it in their final foursome alliance chat. So Anthony kind of had his hands tied there at that point to have to vote with the alliance, which is fine. And I think Anthony's in a fine spot regardless because now both sides need him. He's in the final foursome, but also Tommy and Anna wanted to bring him in. And now they are in a threesome chat called Long Overdue. So Anthony now is in alliance with almost everyone in the house outside of Blake, but him and Blake have a good working relationship because Anthony took the HOH from Blake and Blake didn't want it at the top 10 after doing no deal. So Anthony finds himself in a brilliant position coming into day 30. Oh, girl, I don't want to bring someone to talk about 3 bullet points. It's all good, girl. I also have a meeting in 23 minutes, so it's all good. But this is going to go on. So ultimately, that is where we end. Anna really fights for Ashton, saying that Blake and Lee are closer than Blake is letting on, and that if you let Blake stay around, you're letting Lee stay around, which means Lee can win competitions. He will beat you. He will send you home, and Lee will take up a spot at the final 2 and hand whoever's sitting next to him the victory. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Anna does not give up. Anna is very brilliant, and I wish she would have started fighting like this earlier. Once the nominations were set, because I feel like maybe if that had stewed with Anthony for longer, this might have gone differently. I wish she wouldn't have waited to the last hour. But what can you do? So it's all fine. Ultimately, Anthony is more scared that Ashton and Mitchell Hammond can repair their relationship because time heals all wounds, and they were a little afraid that he was a little afraid that Ashton would forgive Mitchell and let Mitchell skate by to the end. So Anthony decided he'd rather clip Ashton because of her connection to Hammond versus Blake's connection to Lee. So that's ultimately why we see Ashton here evicted 4-1. Anna flips her vote because she just doesn't want to vote in the minority for whatever reason. Couldn't tell you why, to be completely frank. I think it's kind of stupid, but whatever. Like, it's one of those. Anyway, really nothing happens until the HOH competition, where Blake absolutely annihilates the competition. Yes, the scoring was close, but he understood the assignment. He understood the assignment of no vacancy. Please go watch it. It's a fun time, a fun comp, and Blake just really understood what he was meant to do there. Get the information, lie about it, put himself in a better scoring position in the game. Did a very, 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 very good job. So mad props to Blake. Round 5 was just done so masterfully of trying to convince people to go 4 people onto Dan. Then he agrees to go on the Dan dormitory. He flips off of it, which adds like $13 or $14 to each of their fares, and then doubles it. And then unknowingly, Danny also doubles the same establishment. So it really was just beautiful work from Blake there. Blake goes on to win the head of household. No shocker there. And I mean, we're at this point now where it's like, people are nominating who they want, and there's little people can do about it. He wants to put up Tommy, who voted him out. He made that very clear in the house chat. He made that very clear in his broad chat. He's like, people who vote me out, you're sitting on the block next to Hammond. Do I think it's a good move? Yes and no. It depends on how this one turns out tonight, because I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Because... sorry, I'm just getting messages from my boss who I pinged yesterday to get on work with, and was politely disregarded. And now they want me to do stuff. I'm like, cool. Maybe you should have responded yesterday, but it's okay. Anyway, it's fine. Ultimately, Blake wants to put up Hammond and Tommy. Hammond for the obvious reasons that we nominated him. Tommy because he evicted him, and he wants Hammond to go home. Now we get to the votes. Likely here, we're going to see the nominations stay the same. Blake is currently still in the lead in the power veto, only with Tommy and Lee left to go. Obviously, Tommy would use it on himself. If Tommy uses it on himself, then Anna goes up. If Lee wins it, Lee has already pledged not to use it. And it seems like he is confident that he won't use it unless he wants to get Anna on the block, who is his target. But again, I don't know. So really here, I think we'll either end with Tommy Hammond noms, or we'll end with Anna Hammond noms. I don't think we leave anywhere else here. So we'll see what happens. I was going to say, the dynamics of this vote is a very intriguing vote. So let's say Tommy and Hammond stay the same. Obviously, Anna will vote to evict Hammond. Then you've got 3 people who are up in the air, and it's all the members of the final foursome who pledged to Hammond to vote to save him if he was on the block against either Tommy or Anna. If they saved Blake, Blake won out of hell, so they promised him all these things. And now here they are, thinking about it. Do they want to? I don't know. Danny does not want to. Danny does not want to be at the end with Lee and Anthony and Hammond, and this is a prime opportunity for him or for her to boot one of them and position herself with Tommy and Anna moving forward. So I could see her flipping. Lee has alluded to that this vote is not as easy as on face value as it seems, even though he has said time and time again that he'd like Tommy to be booted pretty early on pretty early on in this end game and have Hammond near the end because he wants Hammond as a shield, but now he's reconsidering that. So I don't even know if his vote's locked up. And then we have Anthony, who is right in the middle. He's in the final foursome chat. He's also in the long overdue chat with Tommy and Anna. He's going to have to vote out a person he's in an alliance chat with. So and he messaged his prod chat, said that he would be semi-crazy to not vote out Hammond here, which makes me think that he's going to. But again, he might not. So a lot of interesting dynamics if Hammond and Tommy name the nominations tonight, which I think is highly likely. I think Blake's score is very hard to beat. If Anna finds herself on the block, I think this vote becomes far less interesting. Because Lee is locked. Not him sending an invite for 3:30, sir. I don't want to be here till 3:30. Anyway, that's so frustrating. Sorry, my boss being annoying. If we have Anna and Hammond, it's far less interesting because Lee locks his vote in to evict Anna, Danny as well. Danny more wants to save Tommy to work forward with Tommy and Anna, but is not necessarily wanting to save Anna because I think she realizes that saving Anna doesn't mean much to Anna. Anna is not somebody who cares about someone saving her. Tommy would take that far more into consideration and moving forward. So I think Danny has the right read here. Like she's like, I would vote out Hammond for Tommy, but not for Anna. And Anthony doesn't have as strong of a relationship with Anna, and Anna is a very, very smart player, and she just showed it today earlier on day 30, basically, being on a call with him for 30 minutes, and he's like, damn, like that was really convincing, can't lie. So I think if it's Anna and Hammond, it's a lot less interesting and only focuses on Anthony, because Anthony either would make it 3-1 to evict Anna or would force a 2-2 tie where I believe Blake would evict Hammond. If it is Tommy and Hammond, I think Hammond goes. I don't know what the vote count would be, but I think at least minimum it'll be 2-2. I think Anthony will vote him out and at least force a 2-2 tie here, and have Blake break the tie, which I just think it would make sense if Lee and Danny are being told by Anthony, like, hey, I'm flipping and voting out Hammond. Lee and Danny should just vote to save Hammond and let Blake show his cards and let Blake vote out Hammond here, because Danny and Lee can still retain the friendship with Hammond, saying like, we didn't vote you out, blame Anthony for flipping on you. But still claim the fact that we're like, yeah, we would have done it, but like, why? The votes were already there, so we have no need to also vote that way. Like, let's get Blake some dirt on his hands, So I'll see what happens tonight. So if you're a Hammond fan, you're rooting for Tommy to win it, or for Lee to win it, and randomly just want to use it on Tommy to get Anna out. But I don't think he'll use it, to be completely honest. I don't think he's going to piss off Blake to do it, but I could be wrong. Literally, I'm now getting invited to everything now. Literally, I just got invited to 3 meetings today.
So we're like right on the cusp. Like I said, our goal is 129.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's as if I tried to do this yesterday when I was not as busy with stuff. It's fine. Anyway, that's all the tea that we have here on day 30. As we look forward to what we have coming up, we have, we'll finish up. I have Tommy at noon, Lee at 12:30. We'll have veto results around 1-ish. And then we will have veto ceremony and eviction tonight around 8-ish, give or take. And then we will have our live head of household competition tonight, 8:30, 9-ish. Whether we'll be playing a BBH Classic letter finder. So 5 of our final 6 will compete for the top 6 head of households. So be there live. It'll be a grand old time as we ramp up to the finale on 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. That is all I really have. I mean, it's a very straightforward vote with Ashton going out because Mitchell said she can go. Blake wins, and he's been made his nominations very clear from the jump that it's going to be whoever votes Vic-Me versus Hammond, which was Tommy and Hammond. So easy peasy. This vote's a little interesting. I do think Hammond's a goner if he stays up against Tommy. But we'll have to see. We will have to see. Hammond's a great talker, and if Hammond uses this idea like, hey, I am a shield, like no one will vote you out if I am next to you moving forward in this game, maybe it's an argument that will resonate with people like Lee or like Anthony, who at this point are just trying to get to the end. I think Anthony knows his game is strong and knows if he gets to the end, he's in a good spot. Lee obviously knows that like he's going to get eviscerated. But right now, everyone's just like trying to get there because guess what? You can't win unless you're there. Regardless of how good or bad your gameplay is, you have to be there to win. So if everyone's goal is to get there, and Hammond's like, hey, moving forward, if you're on the block next to me, no one's voting you out. So that's another round you're moving forward. So we'll see how Hammond handles this because his back is absolutely up against the wall. But be with us in the Discord. We'll be updating you on all of the thought processes of Lee and Danny and Anthony because really the vote is on them tonight. So that's all I really have for you. I'll be back at 10:30 tomorrow to recap our eviction for 7th place and our new head of household. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's not next, is it? I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. Well, but we have some fun comps coming down the line. You know what? I'll give you a little hint, wink. Letterfinder live tonight. The POV tomorrow is a non-live one, not important. Then tomorrow night, final 5 HOH. What the Bleep will be a super, super fun time. And then on Thursday, the final 5 POV is Face Morph, which is always a fun one to watch. We'll go live with that. Into final 4 HOH, we will go live on Thursday night for War. And then on Friday, the last POV of the season will be a new trivia competition. So be there. Most of our competitions are live moving forward as we ramp up for finale night. But I'll catch you on the Discord. I'll catch you tomorrow at 10:30. It has been so fun having you all this season, and I love you all dearly. Stay thirsty, my friends, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.